honest, it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting like a small museum.
Yeah.
And when we walked in, I mean, it was like, I think that initial model was really, really cool.
When we first started going to desert airports, we were not expecting much because usually there's not much in the surroundings. But we've been so wrong because they are serene, picturesque, and a lot of times very historical. And today we learn how a lot of these desert airports in Southern California share an important connection. Today we departed Corona IFR once again because it's the end of May gray and probably the start of June gloom the next day. And if you don't know what either of those are, well, it just means most mornings are overcast. We then canceled above the clouds and continued at 7,500 feet VFR, which would be mostly smooth flight except through the Banning Pass, but it was just a little bumps here and there, so no biggie. It's been a while since we last visited a first-time airport. I think the last time was Scottsdale about 4 months ago, so we were excited for this one. It's the end of May, which means that it's about to start heating up in the desert, so we knew if we were going to visit this next airport, we better do it now. Apparently, we weren't the only ones thinking the same thing because 2 other aircraft were also on their way for a breakfast run at this same airport. We've actually passed this airport plenty of times, like when we go to Buckeye or when we went to Scottsdale. But when you're excited to go somewhere new, whether an event or you're returning home, rarely do you choose to make an unnecessary pit stop, especially since we just assumed the only thing to do here was eat. But if you're a history buff, especially World War II history, you definitely have to come visit one of the most unexpectedly fascinating museums we have ever been to. We did some prior research and we initially thought it would be this tiny little museum, but wow, we were completely wrong. But in our defense, even doing our research of things to do here, the museum was completely undersold. And we'll show you exactly why and tell you why it's the main reason you should visit Chiriaco Summit Airport in Chiriaco Summit, California. So the METAR and the decoded METAR won't match because I did my best to try to adjust for the airport since there is no weather station at Chiriaco Summit.
Chiriaco Summit traffic, Aero 1939er Hotel, 4 miles to the west, inbound for left traffic, 24 full stop, Chiriaco.
So let's talk briefly about the airport before we dive into the fascinating history. Chiriaco Summit Airport is non-towered at 1,711 feet elevation with one runway, 0624 at 4,000 feet. And it's one way in and one way out when taxiing to and from Transient Parking, which it's on the departure end of 24. When landing on 24, know that you are not officially clear of the runway until you make the left turn all the way at the end and pass the hold short barred lines, which you'll see here shortly. The runway is in really good condition, but at 50 feet wide, it was a little tight for our back taxi turn, which you'll see when we depart. And I'm sure it won't come as a surprise, there are no instrument approaches. You guys have heard me say time and time again about the desert winds, which is always a concern, and another reason why we decided to come early. Now, the main problem is that the airport has no automated weather station, and the windsock is really difficult to see in the pattern. We studied the forecasted winds the day before, as well as local weather stations en route, which made us settle on runway 24. But we were lucky today as the winds were calm, so not too much guesswork needed.
Chiriaco Summit traffic, Aero 1939er Hotel entering left downwind for 24, Chiriaco.
The winds were so calm, as a matter of fact, that a few minutes after we landed, the other traffic that was coming into here landed runway 06. Now you might notice that I'm hugging this downwind pretty close to the runway, and it's only because of that terrain to the right, but it's gonna cause me to overshoot final, but not by much. One of the weather factors I'm acutely aware of with these clouds above us are microbursts. Now, I haven't experienced them personally, and I might be overly cautious, but it's definitely something I think about because it happened to my A&P in this area specifically years ago. So it's definitely worth mentioning. Lastly, once again, this is the desert, so above 100-degree temperatures in the summer is easily the norm. Today, it was going to heat up to 102, and we're not going to be around to find out what that felt like. But of course, with those high temperatures, what else do you have to worry about? That's right, high density altitude. And as much as we worry about the performance of our planes, you also have to worry about your personal performance, how you feel, because you'll be burning up in your hot box if it's that hot outside. So the one other thing that I implore you guys to remember is bring water, lots and lots of water.
Chiriaco Summit traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, turning left base 24, full stop. Chiriaco.
Now there is no FBO on the field, but honestly it doesn't need one. There's so many businesses right next to the airport, and we'll show you all of them after we land.
Chiriaco Summit traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, turning final 24, full stop. Chiriaco.
Now, as I mentioned, it's one way in and one way out of the runway. So make sure to make those radio calls because you can be on an approach with traffic taxiing in the opposite direction. Now, you might be able to visually spot someone on the runway, but if they're still coming from the ramp area and haven't actually turned onto the runway yet, you might miss them. Then suddenly one of you has to do a 180 on a pretty narrow strip. Planes with fixed gear usually don't have much of a problem turning around, but in our Aero with retractable gears, we needed the whole 50-foot wide runway to do a 180. Now, as we come in for landing, here's another very important service that is not at this airport, and that is fuel. So make sure you plan for not only coming here, but departing as well. Not much more to say about it, except that the next closest airports with fuel will be Blythe, about 45 miles to the east, and Thermal, 25 miles to the west. And just another reminder, here doesn't make you clear of the runway. You got to keep taxiing, make that left turn till you see the hold short bars. Now there is a transient parking area and it has a decent number of spots, all with tie down chains. Even though personally I feel like the chains are so thick their weight is enough to keep your plane on the ground. I'm just kidding, of course. But we ended up using our own tie down straps because even though the winds are calm, they can pick up at any time. We asked ourselves how this airport could stay busy enough to stay open. And when you think about there being no restaurants nearby at many other airports, it's easy to see why this is a great stop. There are no landing fees, you don't need to drive somewhere to eat, everything is right here. And this includes the Chiriaco Summit restaurant, which is also the Chiriaco Summit Coffee Shop and gift shop. And after all that taxiing, we finally make it to the hold short bars.
Chiriaco Summit traffic, Aero 1939 Hotel, clear of 24, Chiriaco.
One thing you might notice right away is that this is a huge stop for both truckers and travelers alike. And again, it's mostly because it's probably the only thing around for miles. Now, even though this is just a runway and parking, it is secured with a fence and a gate. So when you exit, remember to note the gate code. And as always, test it before you close the gate behind you. Now, remember when I said you can barely see the windsock in the pattern? Well, here's where it's located. We finally made it, and it's another airport in the logbook. Now let's go look around.
We've been wanting to come here. This is like one of those airports like everybody comes to, and I can't believe we haven't been here. We made it to airport for us number 81, Chiriaco Summit. We've been wanting to come here for a long time. Today is gonna be pretty warm here, probably gonna hit 95. It's now 9 o'clock. We're trying to get out of here by 1. That's when the winds are supposed to start picking up. Yeah, so they have a food mart that has a Frosty Freeze, and then
Foster's Freeze?
Foster's Freeze. When they say Frosty Freeze, we're gonna go to get some breakfast first, and then we're gonna go to. Is it a tank museum?
That's a good question. Someone had said that, but I'm not sure exactly.
Unicom. So we're gonna press C. 1229. All right, let's look at these.
And it looks like it's a big stop for truckers too, huh?
I know. Well, we'll show you guys around a little bit more, but for now, we're gonna go eat. We gotta pay attention. Looks like there's a lot of trucks and cars, so I'll see you guys in a bit.
Our first stop was the Chiriaco Summit restaurant for some breakfast/lunch. We had heard good things about it and we were excited to check it out. And yes, initially it was a little confusing, but yes, the restaurant, the coffee shop, the ice cream shop, and the gift shop are all in this one large area. Now it was time to walk off that lunch and head over to the George Patton Memorial Museum. So as we walk around, we'll discuss a little bit of history, and trust me, there's a ton of it, but we'll keep it brief. We don't want to spoil too much. The first question, why is Chiriaco Summit Airport even here? Yes, there is a connection to General Patton, I promise. The airport was first opened in April of 1943 and was used by the United States Army Air Force 4th Air Force and part of the Desert Training Center, also known as the California-Arizona Maneuver Area. So what's so significant about this maneuver area? Well, it was a World War II training facility and the largest military training ground in the history of military maneuvers. The area extended from Pomona, California to Yuma, Arizona to within 50 miles of Phoenix, Arizona to Kingman. I know, what does that even mean? Well, if you combine Los Angeles County, Orange County, and San Diego County area, it would still be only half the size of this gigantic training center in the desert. And one of the most impressive things about this museum, it has this 3D printed model showing the terrain of all the entire area encompassed by the Desert Training Center. Now, what is the significance of Chiriaco Summit Airport, or Shaver Summit as it was originally called back then? Well, it was the headquarters for the entire training area. It was on a site called Camp Young, and it was the world's largest Army post. And if you're wondering why is this airport out in the middle of nowhere, well, the reason this area was selected was because it closely mimicked the harsh conditions of North Africa, where Winston Churchill urged President FDR to send army support. The problem was the troops were not prepared for those conditions, so George Patton was tasked with advancing tank warfare under the harshest desert conditions possible, and they succeeded in training over 1 million men in the 11 camps from 1942 to 1943.
So we're not done here just yet, but it's been really, this place is crazy. We thought it was gonna be a little like, I don't know, a small little museum, and all the stuff that they have here is such good condition. Like I said, we're not even done. We're about to go outside to look at the tanks outside, but the ones they have inside are, I didn't expect this. I mean, it's Chiriaco Summit. There's not really much around here, so you wouldn't expect much, but even this storage area is like brand new. But I think we've been to a lot of museums. We haven't seen tanks like these at all. So we're gonna keep checking out the rest. Oh.
This is so cool.
I know. Here's the driver. And then, yeah, so this thing would turn.
So you're saying down here
Is the
is
driver.
where the driver would
I think
be.
so. But yeah, this is crazy. I've never been in one. How would he see? I was like, maybe he had a periscope of some type.
And after exploring inside, we went outside. Now again, the only thing I warn you guys, especially going in the summer, wear a hat, wear sunscreen, bring water because it gets extremely hot out there. Remember, this location was chosen for its harsh conditions and it has not changed. And because we couldn't find any plaques for it, this last structure was the original chapel for the soldiers.
I was really impressed. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting a small museum.
Yeah.
And when we walked in, I mean, it was like, I think that initial model was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
That showed the Colorado River and the aqueducts and all that. And then just how comprehensive it was about Patton's life and the influence, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Super impressive. I think for all the museums that we've been to, this is probably up there, at least in the top 10.
It is, and that's the thing. Like, it's if you're a World War I, World War II buff, history buff, just that is really well done here. And then the tanks just add another level to it. And they seriously, you just pay and you just get to walk around wherever you want.
And it's air conditioned. So
Oh.
like today when it's
yeah.
like 90 something here,
It's so hot right now. It's so
it
hot.
felt so good to walk in
Yeah.
and just get cooled down immediately and
Yeah.
have somewhere to hang out that actually had like really interesting stuff to look at while we were
Oh, yeah.
cooling down. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a nice plus.
We're trying to get out of here before it gets too hot. Luckily, we have some cloud cover now. What time is it? 11:48. We're trying to get out of here by 1. That's when it's forecasted to the winds to start. Anyway, so yeah, come to Chiriaco Summit, go to the museum.
Yes.
Whew, all right. We're gonna do our run up here because this is the first time we've ever had to do this. We had a back taxi, the runway on the runway, and then we're gonna fly out. And there's nobody here. Luckily, there's a little bit of cloud cover, but which I'll probably mention in the voiceover. But yes, bring your water. If it wasn't for Irene, I wouldn't have any water today.
And we also have a hydro flask filled with ice,
Hydro flask,
extra waters.
yes.
Yeah.
Last time it was hot, I flew in the desert without water. Irene was not amused.
I was not.
But yes, bring your water.
Well, the convenience store
Oh, convenience store, yeah.
also has water.
Yeah.
They have ice.
But
so-
again, if for whatever emergencies you have, just have water. But yeah, we got clouds over there, clouds all that way. That way it's looking much clearer, so we should be good to go. We're just gonna do a straight out departure and get home before it gets too hot even at home. So we'll see you guys on the ground. That's not really a sign off.
Here, you want to do that again?
Yeah, we'll see you guys on the ground. Never.
Well, and you had your back turned to the camera
Okay.
as well.
Do it
Take
again.
two.
Take
And
2.
go.
These airports are always surprising us of the things you can do. Good food. They have a gas station, so any convenience stuff. Again, they have what do they call them? Frosty freeze? No, Froster freeze? Frosty freeze. Not Froster's freeze. Frosty freeze. Freeze, I think the first.
Oh my God. Have to edit this out.
Again, we're gonna get ready, but we hope you guys like this one too. And if there's anything else you guys would like us to cover when we do these walkarounds, we're trying to do pretty much everything we do. It's not comprehensive by any means of like everything you can do here, but we just wanted to come, check out that and see what it is. So we'll see you guys on the next one. So one of the things that people on some on ForeFlight complained about was the chains, and kind of don't blame them. They are really thick chains. They're really heavy. Put this down here. So these are really heavy chains. And so instead of opting for those, I ended up using the straps, but even the straps, the holes aren't big enough. So I kind of forced it in there. It was good enough to hold it down. But when you guys come, just know that there are chains. We use it on the tail, but not the wings. Again, they're just really heavy duty. It's kind of weird that they use these. And I think even on ForeFlight, I don't know if it was the contractor or somebody said that they didn't know why the city forced them to use these because they didn't even agree with these. So, but they're here. So that's what you're gonna have to work with, unfortunately. But again, if you bring your own, you should be fine.
We're wrapping up the day. It's time for us to head home and get out of here before that heat kicks up and those winds. Since the last thing I want to do is hog up the runway doing a run up, I elected to do it in the transient parking area since there was no one around. Remember how I said it's important for pilots to make position calls when coming into this airport? Here is a great example of that, as this powered glider pilot constantly made position calls and it let me know to wait for him as he landed and parked. Again, great job to this pilot, and we even got a wave at the end. And of course, it's time to show our appreciation. And first, we like to start off with our super thanks, Chris and Boss. Thank you guys for keeping those tanks full. Next, we want to thank our YouTube members, Thomas, Gary, Pilot, Chip, and Ron. We really appreciate you guys. And finally, we want to thank our Patreon members, Chris, Tony, Steve, Rich, Phil, Tyler, Michael, and Chase. You guys are making it really difficult to say all your names, and we love it. Thank you so much.
Chiriaco Summit Aero 19039er Hotel back taxiing on the runway for 24. Chiriaco.
We were seriously surprised just how interesting the museum was. And even though it is a General Patton Museum, there is so much more history and it's so worth exploring. You definitely want to look at all the tanks that they have on display, and they're in such great condition. We would have visited this airport much sooner if we would have known just how awesome the museum was. Again, if you like World War II history, especially if you like tanks, oh man, this is a great spot.
Chiriaco Summit traffic, Aero 19039er Hotel on the runway, back taxiing 24, Chiriaco.
One last fact that we wondered about, when soldiers trained here, temperatures could reach 130 degrees, which would mean in the tanks, the average temperature was 150 to 160 degrees. I mean, how did they even do that? That's crazy. So definitely check out this airport and the museum the next time you're out or near here, or just make a day of it. We had another week of incredible comments, and I'll be honest, that last video Tehachapi came down to the wire for us because it was so much to share and we were trying to figure out the best way to do it. One of our biggest worries was the departure. We didn't know if it would be too dark, but it looks like we might have picked the golden hour, and you guys agreed, which was such a relief. So thank you so much for that feedback. The other thing we found out is that a number of you had already been intrigued with Tehachapi but didn't know what was actually there. And we were ecstatic to hear that we gave you some ideas and even possibly made you excited to visit. We loved our experience there. It was an amazing community and we can't wait to hear your experience when you go. Now we're going to try to make this turn as tight as we can, but as you can see, it still took the entire width of the runway. We can't thank you guys enough every single week. We love to hear from those of you that have been with us for a while and those who have just found the channel. You truly make this worth it. And I don't mean the flying. The flying part's the easy part. It's the work that it takes to bring our experiences to you, and we love doing it. You're amazing. We'll see you next week. Until then, go fly, go discover.
Chiriaco Summit traffic, Aero 19039er Hotel, taking runway 24, straight out departure, Chiriaco. Southwest 142, crossing cloud at 1000 with Echo.
Southwest 142, SoCal, fly heading 230, that vectors for the visual approach 31 left.
230, vectors for the visual, 31 left, Southwest 142.
That's 142, descend to maintain 6,666.
6,600, Southwest 142. United 1294 is out at 12,000, descending to 11,000 at clouds, 300 knots with Echo.
That's 194 SoCal, resume normal speed, fly heading 230 for the sequence. We can expect a visual approach 31 left.
Normal speed, 230 heading, we'll plan 31 left, United 1294.
United 1294, descend to maintain 6,600.
6,000, United 1294.
66, 6,600.
Sorry, 6,600 feet, United 1294.
Behind us.
Tower was at 1722, descending 13,000 for 11,000, and we are planning the visual 31 left.
Westjet 1722 SoCal, roger. Fly your present heading for the sequence, maintain 7,000.
Present heading for the sequence and maintain 7,000, Westjet 1722.
Approach Cherokee 90260 Tango. We are 300 radio and 10 nautical mile from Palm Springs VOR. We have a request 6,500.
Yeah, I was going to go to...
All right, I just sat down here. The call sign, last one calling approach. Say the call sign again.
Cherokee 90260 Tango.
90260 Tango. SoCal, go ahead. Southwest 142, descend and maintain 4,000.
Down to 4,000, Southwest 142.
For 9260 Tango, clock 0233.
Everybody's going that way.
0233, 60 Tango.
Westjet 1722, flighting 230, descend and maintain 7,000.
Yep, thermal right there. 230, maintain 7,000, Westjet 1722.
142, the airport's off your 2 o'clock now, 12 miles.
Field inside, Southwest 142.
142, cleared visual approach, runway 31 left.
Clear for the visual 31 left, Southwest 142.
United 1294, reduce speed at 210 knots, then descend and maintain 4,000.
Slow to 210, then down to 4,000, United 1294.
Westjet 1722, SoCal.
Field inside was at 1722.
Okay, I just wasn't getting a response earlier. So just confirm you're on a 230 heading down to 7,000.
Affirmative, 230 heading 7,000. I may have stepped on you, Westjet 1722.
Westjet 1722, thank you. Reduce your speed at 210 knots.
210 knots, Westjet 1722.
Southwest 142, contact the tower 119.7, good day.
Tower 19.7, Southwest 142.
United 1294, you're falling to Southwest 737, it's your 1 o'clock now, 5 miles out of 4,000.
We're looking, yeah, 1294. We do have the airport in sight.
Thank you. November 9260 Tango, ready to contact 10 miles northwest of Palm Springs. Palm Springs altimeter is 2988.
29908 and position check, Victor Tango.
Victor Tango, the altimeter is 2988.
2988, thank you, Victor Tango.
SoCal approach over 19039 Hotel, 20 miles southeast of Palm Springs, VOR, VFR request.
19390 Hotel, SoCal, go ahead.
39 Hotel, the PA-28 Romeo, slant golf requesting flight following to Corona, Alpha Juliet Oscar at 8,500.
Number 19390 Hotel, squawk 0201.
0201, 39 Hotel.
United 1294, cleared visual approach, only 31 left.
Cleared visual approach, 31 left, United 1294.
Okay. 19390 Hotel, rate of contact. You are 8 miles north of Thermal, Palm Springs, altimeter is 2988.
2988, 39 Hotel.